A little over 2 years ago, I made a video about my collecting regrets, and I thought to myself, why don't we make a video about our business decision regrets? And that's what this is. I'm gonna go over all the dumb decisions that I've made over the last couple of years that I regret. They stick in my craw and I think about them, they keep me up at night, and not good, not good. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt, often called Big Nerdy. Together we are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. All right, we're going to start off talking about Valerse, and I know that there's probably a bunch of haters watching this who saw that thumbnail and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to trash Valerse. No, it's not that. It's not like me saying I regret carrying Valerse. It's nothing like that. In fact, kind of the opposite. So in January of this year, I think January, I was offered graciously the opportunity to have a store exclusive. Bobby contacted me, he goes, hey, do you want to do this? And I said, yeah, I think I do, get me the info. And when he got me the info, what did I do? I said, can't do it. Reason I said it is because I'm a wimp. I was afraid of committing that much money to one thing. And looking back on it now, it was a really dumb decision because it would have sold out. It would have been probably easily the biggest seller of the store for the year. And we had the capital to do it. I was just afraid of not having extra capital. And that's kind of the story of me in general with the store is I'm very conservative in my decision making. I don't like to take risks. And it felt like a big risk. But looking back now, I'm like, man, that could have been huge. It would have brought so many new people to the store. It would have just been cool to see the little Nerdzoic Toy Store exclusive logo on there. So that's a regret. Now, my hope is that next year for the next wave of Valerse, that Bobby doesn't just feel like, screw that guy, I ain't gonna bother with him again. I hope he hits me up because I really want to do one next year. I've already been putting money aside into a separate fund that I call my, let's put it aside Valerse fund so I don't get wimpy again. We'll see. Hopefully I get the chance to fix this regret. The next regret is kind of a small but kind of odd one, and that's having a phone. I mean the business phone. I put it up on the store. That phone rings constantly. And I regret even putting a phone up there because we can process requests and needs through email and chat literally 10 times faster. When you're getting, 30 to 50 customer contacts a day, because we'll get contacts about everything. Are you getting this? How long until this comes out? Hey, I noticed my order, I put the wrong address. There's a ton of them. That's just kind of how it goes. But if we did them all on the phone, I'd have to have a full-time customer service person, and that would be not fun. That goes against my whole run lean kind of idea. Which brings me to my next regret, which is passing up on this location about 7 minutes from my house. The way it works is it's technically a county over because we live right by the line. So we live in Enola where our store is, and this would have been Marysville, and it was dirt cheap. And I was like, nah, we're not ready yet. And it would have been about 3,500 square feet for about 7 foot a square a year, which is really good. And I was like, nope, not ready yet. And of course now it has been filled. We've actually, spoiler alert, been looking at locations a lot lately because we are kind of maxed out now. Not maxed out as in we can't ship more, maxed out as in I can't do more because I spend most of my day pulling orders, going back and forth between our various storage locations and bringing them back and setting them up, and it has become incredibly time consuming. I either need to hire a full-time employee or I need to move to a bigger location. The thing that's complicating this is I can't just go to a warehouse. One thing I've learned, and I guess I should have known this because I spent a couple years in warehouses, none of them are air conditioned in any way. I am 41 years old now. I spent the first 25 years of my young adult life working in restaurants where they got really hot. We had this one kitchen in Philly where it got to 115 in the summer, and it never bothered me. But the last 5 years or so, I can't handle the heat. It literally makes me ill. I can last an hour, then I'm soaking wet and I'm done for the day. So what that means is I gotta find a place that's climate controlled, which means I really gotta kind of find a location that is retail that I can use as a shipping location as well. And that's kind of the plan, but finding that in the price range I'm looking for isn't happening. Hopefully more to come on that eventually. If not, we'll just stay here. Maybe I'll just hire the full-time employee instead of paying for the location. That would also be fine by me. Either way, tired, busy, yes. Which brings me to my next regret, which is that I am way too cheap at times. You're probably seeing this as a theme. You can see it in some of the decisions I made with toys too. So for example, Savage Crucible, Meta Traveler's Legendary. I hope I'm saying that right. Both of them, I was initially all in here, but then it was like, okay, it's gonna be out in a year, here's the deposit amount, and my cheap cash flow alarm was like, no, can't do it, can't do it. So I pulled out of it. And now I look back and I'm like, man, would have been nice to to have put that capital into those things and then came back and wish I had that now. Now, I have righted this wrong. We'll have Wave 2 of Savage Crucible. It's up for pre-order now. We'll have Wave 1 of Meta Travelers up for pre-order now. But again, being too cheap sometimes really, really hurts. And you know, you could probably like throw Valerse in here too, as far as the too cheap thing. Like, I was too cheap for the exclusive. And in the end, you got to be cheap about some things. You probably can't do everything, at least not if you're going to be in a physical location. Now, if we're going to continue working out of our house, boom, then I don't have to worry about it. I can get everything. But if we're going to go to a location, different story. Ironically, my next mistake / regret is not being cheap enough. There are some things that I wasn't cheap enough with that I should have been sooner. So, examples. One of my distributors. Everybody knows who they are because they're the biggest one. Their pricing is insane. They price it to the point where you can't make a profit unless you scalp it, basically. Because by the time you get it here, it's almost the same price as buying at retail. I used them for a long time because of the service and needing to be able to build the business. Once I moved away from them, the profit margins just went and it was just huge. I don't know what I was thinking there. I should have been more cheap sooner. I also avoided some of the direct companies that I work with now because they have minimums, and now I'm like, yeah, I don't care about the minimum, I just want the lowest price. But I wasn't cheap enough then. How's that for like contradictory? Not cheap enough, too cheap, both. Next regret, selling at conventions. So I did one convention ever, and it did not go great. I did RetroCon in 2022, I think, and while it was a great convention, I actually think they do a fantastic job, I did not make enough money for it to have been worth the effort. Again, not exactly in the greatest of shape.
I'm not fat. I'm big boned.
A little heavy set, so like lugging things and stuff, not the easiest for me. I brought all the wrong merch. I didn't think about like having a variety. I was more about, I'll bring all the newest stuff and have a bunch of the same exact thing. So I'd have like 30 of the same SKU because it was a new release and I knew nobody else had it. Well, it was a retro toy convention, so probably not the greatest decision there, but in the end, what it comes down to is I made a couple $1,000s more than I would sitting at home on the weekend doing marketing. And while that might sound like a lot, by the time the expenses were put in, it was like probably $500 for all that work. So the expenses being hotel, table fee, travel fee, having my wife and kids with me because they help me do all of the setup and tear down and selling. They're like, hey, we're going out to dinner, we're going out to breakfast. Does the hotel have a pool? All of that adds up really quick. Does that mean I'll never sell out of Con it again? No, not necessarily. Like, I would probably do it again, but I would sell my personal collection, not sell for the store. I'd sell parts of my collection that I'm looking to get rid of to buy new things. And if there ever is a Nerdzoic Con, I would obviously sell at that too. You'd have to, but that would be a little different because I'd have access a little earlier. I'd be able to really control how much inventory I bring and have set up there. I'll be able to plan it better. Like, at that point, I'm getting a U-Haul and quite a few employees for that. Another regret that's kind of boring is I went way too long without a good accountant. Like, I thought I had a good accountant, I had a CPA, and they were just kind of like, oh, look at you, it's cute. Okay, you do your little business. But then as we grew and became kind of big, they're just like, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll help you out. But they didn't. They were never available for questions. They didn't look over anything. I ended up getting a accountant who is a brother-in-law of a friend who I used to work with at Panera way back when, and he's been phenomenal. He fixed all my stuff. He tells me if I mess anything up. It's great. Next regret. This is another quickie. NECA Target releases. So NECA sells really well for me. So often what I do is I look at the pre-orders and I'm like, I'll get 5 times whatever I pre-sell. Well, with the Target stuff, it usually is right away in stock. So I don't have a chance to see what the pre-sale is going to be. So I'll be like, great example, Wandering Mike. I guess I'll take 60. Did not know that he had been at Target for a long time already. So I got him and I sold like 20. I've been sitting on like 40 of those Wandering Michelangelos for the longest time. So now I'm much more careful about seeing, ooh, before I place this order, let me see if Target's already had this for the last year. Another regret is I often get closeout happy. So we all love closeout sales. When you're a collector especially, right? You go to Ollie's, you get really great deals. Well, back 2-3 years ago, those deals were offered to smaller retailers like us too, and we were going crazy, and I was buying stuff that we don't usually carry, and I bought too much of it. A lot. Not so much Hasbro. Hasbro always sells, but like I bought some Beast Kingdom stuff that I still have. Looking at you, little tiny Thor guy. There's some older McFarlane stuff that I ended up donating to Toys for Tots last year. Yeah. Gotta be careful with that one, because I just see that price tag and I'm like, yeah. But no, the reason it has that price tag is because nobody already wants it. And my very last thing that I regret, and this is probably the biggest one, is knowing my role. And shut your mouth.
You know your damn role.
Sorry, The Rock was here for a moment. So by this I mean, I have a weird role. To some people's head, I'm an influencer. I'm a toy reviewer influencer. In other people's mind, I'm a retailer. Which am I? The answer is both, and I gotta walk a tightrope. That means if I see a rumor floating around, I can't report it. Yes, I know I did it with the Black Series reruns because I thought it was okay. Long story there, but that was definitely a lesson learned. But now I see people like 2025 Marvel Legends leaks, and I look and I know which are true and I know which are not true, but I'm keeping my mouth shut because I have learned that my role is I can celebrate this stuff once it's official, but I cannot be out there being like confirmed, denied, not good. Then there are the questionable things, like when I take McFarlane toys and put them on blast on a video and people are like, well, this is kind of unprofessional. And I'm like, you know what? In some ways I can see what you're saying, but I spent 25 years working for other people and eating the crap that was served to me in a bowl and smiling about it and being like, oh yeah, this is great. I started my own business because I don't want to do that stuff. So while I do have to eat the crap still, I don't have to be happy about it. And that's me showing I'm not happy. But hey, whatever, I kind of gave up on that whole thing. No, I never heard back from Toddy Mac or anybody, but the video did lead to me getting a couple more retail, like wholesale places to get stuff from, so it made it a little bit easier for me. Still not as easy as it was before. I'll still always post the McFarlane stuff an hour later than everybody else, but it is what it is. Hakuna Matata, whatever, I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I have to not care in my head at least, and not go crazy. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch similar videos, check out this playlist. Yeah, that's my Cartman. Yeah. And remember, you gotta get old. You don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later. Bang, bang, bang. Big Nerdy out. I don't know what to say anymore.